The ship landed on the golden platform with a soft sound. Kang Taiho looked through the small window and saw a world that did not look real. The sky was purple. The buildings were tall and made of white stone that glowed in the sunlight. Everything looked clean and perfect, like a painting. Taiho was 32 years old. He had black hair, tired eyes, and many scars on his body. He was a soldier from Earth. He had fought in the border wars for 8 years. He had killed many enemies. He had watched many friends die. Now he was here, on the capital planet of the Valari Empire, and he did not know why the door of the ship opened. 2 Valari guards stood outside. They were tall, almost 7 feet. Their skin was pale blue, and their eyes were silver. They wore white armor that looked like it was made of light. They looked at Taiho like he was a small animal. "Human," one of them said. "Come with us." Taiho stood up slowly. He was wearing simple clothes, a gray shirt and black pants. He had no weapons. They had taken everything from him on the transport ship. He walked out of the ship and felt the warm air on his face. It smelled like flowers. The guards walked in front of him. Taiho followed. He looked around as they moved through the city. The Valari people stopped and watched him. Some of them whispered to each other. Others looked at him with fear in their eyes. Taiho understood. Humans had a reputation in the galaxy. They were known for violence. They were known for never giving up. They were known for being dangerous. The walk took a long time. They passed through gardens with strange plants. They crossed bridges over rivers of clear water. Finally, they reached a building that was bigger than anything Taiho had ever seen. It was the Imperial Palace. The doors opened by themselves. Inside, the floor was made of black stone that reflected everything like a mirror. The walls were covered with gold patterns. Lights floated in the air without any wires or machines. Taiho kept his face calm, but inside he was amazed. They walked through many halls. Each one was more beautiful than the last. Finally, they reached a large room. At the end of the room, there was a throne. And on the throne sat the Princess Empress of the Valari Empire. Her name was Lady Subin. She was the most powerful being in this part of the galaxy. Her empire had 1,000 planets. Her armies had millions of soldiers. She had lived for over 500 years. She looked young, maybe 40 by human standards, but her eyes were old. They held the weight of centuries. Her skin was pale blue like all Valari, but it had a golden glow. Her hair was long and white, falling down her shoulders like water. She wore a dress made of silver fabric that moved on its own. On her head was a crown of floating crystals. Taiho stopped walking. The guards stepped aside. He was alone in front of the most powerful woman in the galaxy. "So," Lady Subin said. Her voice was soft but strong. It filled the room without effort. "This is the human they call the Ghost." Taiho did not react. He had earned that name during the war. He had killed an enemy general inside his own command ship. No one knew how he got in. No one knew how he got out. The enemy thought he was a ghost, a spirit of death. "I am just a soldier," Taiho said. His voice was calm. Lady Subin smiled. It was a small smile, cold and calculating. "You are more than that. I have read your file. 47 confirmed kills in close combat. 3 times you were left for dead. 3 times you came back. You once held a position alone for 16 hours against 200 enemies. You are not just a soldier. You are a weapon." Taiho said nothing. He just looked at her. "Do you know why you are here?" she asked. "No," he said. Lady Subin stood up from her throne. She walked down the steps slowly. Her dress flowed behind her like a ghost. She stopped in front of Taiho. She was taller than him by almost a foot, but he did not look away. "I have a daughter," she said. "Her name is Yuna. She is my only child. She is the heir to my empire. Taiho waited. He knew there was more. My daughter is different, Lady Subin continued. She was born with a weak body. Our medicine cannot fix it. She cannot fight like other Velari. She cannot run. Sometimes she cannot even walk far. But her mind is strong. She will be a great empress one day. If she lives. You have enemies, Taiho said. It was not a question. I have many enemies, Lady Subin said. They fear what will happen when I die. They think my daughter is weak. They think she will be easy to control or easy to kill. They are wrong about her mind, but they are right about her body. She needs protection. You have guards, Taiho said. Velari guards. Why do you need a human? Lady Subin looked at him for a long moment. Because I cannot trust my own people, she said quietly. The nobles smile at me, but they want my throne. My guards are loyal, but loyalty can be bought. I need someone different. I need someone who owes nothing to anyone in this empire. I need someone who can do things that my people cannot. You need a killer, Taiho said. Yes, she said without shame. I need a killer who will protect my daughter with his life. I need someone who is not afraid to die. I need someone who has nothing to lose. She paused. I have looked at many humans, soldiers, mercenaries, criminals. None of them were right. But you are different. How am I different? Because you do not want to be here, Lady Subin said. You do not want money. You do not want power. You do not want fame. You are tired of killing. You want to rest. But you cannot. Because you are a weapon, and weapons must be used. Taiho felt something cold in his chest. She was right. She had looked inside him and found the truth. What do you want from me? He asked. I want you to take care of my daughter, Lady Subin said. Protect her. Guard her. Stay by her side day and night. Kill anyone who tries to hurt her. In return, I will give you anything you want. And if I refuse, Lady Subin's eyes became cold. Then I will send you back to Earth in chains. You will spend the rest of your life in a military prison. I can make that happen with one word. Taiho understood. He had no choice. He never had a choice. Fine, he said. I will protect your daughter. Lady Subin smiled again. This time, it was warmer. Good. Come. I will introduce you to her. She turned and walked toward a door on the side of the room. Taiho followed. They walked through more halls, these ones simpler and quieter. Finally, they reached a garden. It was inside the palace, surrounded by walls of glass. Flowers of every color grew everywhere. In the middle of the garden, there was a young woman sitting on a bench. Princess Yuna. She was beautiful, but in a different way from her mother. She was smaller, thinner. Her skin was pale blue, but almost white, like she had never seen the sun. Her hair was silver, cut short above her shoulders. She wore a simple white dress. In her hands, she held a book. She looked up when they approached. Her eyes were gold, bright and sharp. They looked at Taiho with suspicion. Mother, she said. Her voice was soft but cold. What is this? This is Kong Taiho, Lady Subin said. He is a human soldier. He will be your new personal guard. Yuna's eyes narrowed. She looked at Taiho like he was an insect. A human? To protect me? She laughed, but there was no joy in it. This is a joke. It is not a joke, Lady Subin said. Her voice was firm. You need protection. Real protection. He can give it to you. I do not want him, Yuna said. I do not need a savage following me around. Send him back. Taiho watched her. He saw the pride in her eyes. He saw the fear hidden behind it. She was scared. She was pretending to be strong, but she was scared. "Your Highness," Lady Subin said, "this is not a request. He is your guard now. You will accept him." Yuna's face became red with anger. She stood up quickly, but then she stumbled. Her legs were weak. Taiho moved without thinking. He caught her arm and held her steady. She pulled away from him like his touch burned her. "Do not touch me," she shouted. "You are nothing. You are just a dirty human." Taiho looked at her calmly. "You were about to fall," he said. "I stopped you from falling. That is my job now." Yuna stared at him with hate in her eyes. Then she turned and walked away, moving slowly and carefully. She did not look back. Lady Subin watched her daughter leave. Then she looked at Taiho. "She is difficult," she said, "but she is good inside. You will see that in time." Taiho was not so sure, but it did not matter. He had a job to do. He would do it. "Where do I sleep?" he asked. "There is a room next to hers," Lady Subin said. "You will be there. Always close. Always ready." Taiho nodded. He looked at the door where Princess Yuna had disappeared. He did not know what would happen next. He did not know if he could protect her. But he knew one thing. He would try. Because that was all he knew how to do. The wind blew through the garden. The flowers moved gently. Somewhere in the palace, a princess was crying in her room, alone and afraid. And outside her door, a human soldier stood in the shadows, watching and waiting. This was the beginning. The first week was terrible. Princess Yuna did not speak to Taiho. She did not look at him. She pretended he did not exist. When she walked through the halls, she walked like he was not behind her. When she ate her meals, she ate like he was not standing by the door. When servants spoke to her about him, she acted like she could not hear them. Taiho did not care. He had a job to do. He did it. Every morning. He woke up before the sun rose. He checked the hallways outside her room. He looked for anything strange. He looked at the faces of every servant who came near. He learned their names and their schedules. He watched everything. Yuna's room was on the highest floor of the east wing. It had large windows that looked out over the city. The view was beautiful, but Taiho did not look at it. He looked at the gaps in security. He looked at how someone could climb up to those windows. He made notes in his head. He planned. The first day, he found 3 weak points in the security around her room. He reported them to the head of the palace guard, a Valari named Captain Haran. Haran was a tall man with cold eyes and a proud face. He did not like Taiho. He did not like that a human was doing his job. "You think you know better than us?" Haran asked. His voice was full of anger. "I think those windows need better locks," Taiho said calmly. "And the servant entrance should have 2 guards, not 1. And the air vents are too big. Someone could crawl through them." Haran's face became red. "This palace has been secure for 300 years. No one has ever broken in. Your ideas are not welcome here." Taiho looked at him for a long moment. Then he turned and walked away. He did not argue. Arguments were useless. He fixed the problems himself. He put new locks on the windows at night when no one was watching. He blocked the air vents with metal bars he found in the servant areas. The second guard at the entrance was not his to add, but he watched that entrance himself during the dangerous hours. Princess Yuna noticed none of this. She was too busy ignoring him. On the second day, she tried to lose him. She walked fast through the halls, turning corners quickly, going through doors and closing them behind her. She thought she was clever. She did not know that Taiho had spent 6 years tracking enemies through forests and cities. A princess in a palace was easy to follow. Every time she thought she had escaped, he was there, standing in the shadows, waiting. Her face would twist with anger, and she would walk away again. This game continued for hours. Finally, she stopped in a small garden. She was breathing hard. Her weak body was not made for running. She sat down on a stone bench and put her face in her hands. "Why won't you go away?" she said. Her voice was tired. Taeho stepped out of the shadows. "Because your mother told me to stay." "My mother does not control everything," Yuna said. She looked up at him. Her golden eyes were wet with tears she was trying to hide. "I do not want you here. I do not need protection from a human." Taeho sat down on a stone near her, not on the bench. He kept distance. "You do not like humans." "No," she said. "I do not. Your kind is violent. You fight and kill each other over small things. You destroyed half your own planet before you went to the stars. You are dangerous." "Yes," Taeho said. "We are." Yuna looked surprised. She expected him to argue. She expected him to defend his people. He did not. "We are violent," Taeho continued. "We are dangerous. We fight over small things. We have killed millions of our own kind. This is true." He paused. "But this is also why I am good at protecting people. I know how killers think. I know how they move. I know how to stop them." Yuna was quiet for a moment. Then she shook her head. "I still do not want you here." "That is fine," Taeho said. "You do not have to want me. You just have to stay alive." He stood up and walked back into the shadows. Yuna watched him go. Something in her eyes changed, just for a moment. Then it was gone. The third day was different. Yuna had lessons in the morning. She studied history, politics, and science with old Velari teachers who came to the palace. Taeho stood outside the room during these lessons. He listened through the door. The teachers were not kind. They pushed Yuna hard. They asked her difficult questions. When she got answers wrong, they did not comfort her. They told her she was weak. They told her she needed to try harder. They reminded her that her body was broken, so her mind had to be perfect. Taeho heard Yuna's voice shake sometimes. He heard her struggle to keep her pride. He heard her cry once, very quietly, when she thought no one could hear. After the lessons, she walked slowly to her garden. Her legs were tired. Each step was hard. She refused to use the floating chair that the doctors had made for her. She said it made her look weak. So she walked, even when it hurt. Taeho followed. He watched her struggle. He said nothing. When she reached the garden, she collapsed onto her bench. Her face was white with pain. She sat there for a long time, not moving. Taeho waited. "You must think I am pathetic," Yuna said finally. She did not look at him. "No," Taeho said. "Liar. Everyone thinks I am pathetic. The weak princess. The broken heir. They whisper about me when they think I cannot hear. They say my mother should have another child. A strong one. One who can actually rule." Taeho stepped closer. "I do not think you are pathetic," he said. "I think you are stubborn." Yuna looked up at him. "Stubborn? You could use the chair. It would make your life easier. But you walk instead. You cause yourself pain because you do not want to look weak. That is stubborn. Is that a bad thing?" Yuna asked. Taeho thought about it. "Sometimes. Sometimes being stubborn just hurts you more. But sometimes," he paused, "sometimes being stubborn is the only thing that keeps you alive." Yuna stared at him. No one had ever talked to her like this. Everyone else treated her like she was made of glass. They protected her feelings. They said nice words that meant nothing. This human was different. He was honest. "You speak strangely for a savage," she said. But her voice was softer now. "I have been called worse things," Taeho said. For the first time, Yuna almost smiled. It was small, barely there. But Taeho saw it. The fourth day, something changed again. Yuna had a visit from a young Valari noble named Lord Jinsu. He was handsome, with bright silver eyes and a charming smile. He brought flowers and sweet words. He sat with Yuna in her garden and talked about parties and dances and all the things that noble people talked about. Taiho stood nearby and watched Dot. He did not like Lord Jinsu. Young noble's smile was too perfect. His words were too smooth. His eyes moved too much, looking at the guards, looking at the exits, looking at everything except what he was supposed to be looking at. Dot. When Lord Jinsu left, Taiho followed him with his eyes. He watched the noble walk through the halls. He watched him stop and talk to a servant. He watched the servant's face change, just for a moment. When Lord Jinsu handed him something small, Taiho filed this information away. He said nothing to Yuna, not yet. He needed more proof. That night, he did not sleep. He stood outside Yuna's door and waited. The palace was quiet. The lights were dim. Hours passed. Just before dawn, he heard something. A soft sound. Footsteps. Someone was coming. Taiho moved into the shadows. He became invisible, like he had learned to do in the war. He watched Dot. A figure appeared at the end of the hall. It was the servant that Lord Jinsu had talked to. He was walking toward Yuna's room. In his hand, he held something that caught the dim light. A knife. Taiho did not wait. He moved fast, faster than any Valari thought a human could move. He was on the servant before the man knew what was happening. One hand grabbed the knife arm. The other hand went to the throat. The servant tried to scream. No sound came out. "Who sent you?" Taiho whispered. His voice was cold as ice. The servant's eyes were wide with fear. He had not expected this. He had been told the human was just a guard, just a simple soldier. No one told him about the ghost. "Who sent you?" Taiho asked again. He squeezed the throat tighter. The servant could not speak. His face was turning blue. Taiho loosened his grip just enough to let air through. "Lord Jinsu." The servant gasped. "He paid me. Said it would look like an accident." Taiho nodded. He had known. He had seen it in Jinsu's eyes. He hit the servant hard on the head. The man fell unconscious. Taiho picked up the knife and looked at it. It was a special blade, coated with poison. One cut would kill. The death would look like a disease, not a murder. The door behind him opened. Yuna stood there in her sleeping clothes. Her silver hair was messy. Her golden eyes were confused. "What is happening?" she asked. Then she saw the servant on the floor. Then she saw the knife in Taiho's hand. "Lord Jinsu sent him to kill you," Taiho said. His voice was calm, like he was discussing the weather. "The knife has poison on it. One scratch and you would be dead." Yuna's face went white. Her legs began to shake. She grabbed the door frame to keep herself standing. "Jinsu?" she whispered. "But he was so kind to me." "Kindness is easy to fake," Taiho said, "especially from people who want something." He called for the palace guards. They came running. They saw the servant and the knife. They listened to Taiho's explanation. Captain Heron looked at Taiho with different eyes now. There was no more contempt. There was respect, even if Heron did not want to show it. Lord Jinsu was arrested that morning. He confessed everything. He was working for a faction of nobles who wanted to put a different family on the throne. They thought killing Yuna would weaken Lady Subin. They were wrong. After everything was over, Yuna sat in her garden. She had not spoken for hours. Taiho's 3 weeks had passed since the night of the knife. Things were different now. Yuna no longer tried to run away from Taiho. She no longer pretended he did not exist. Instead, she talked to him. She asked him questions about his life, about Earth, about humans. She was curious, like a child seeing the world for the first time. Taiho was not used to talking. In the war, words were not important. Actions were. But Yuna wanted words, so he gave them to her. He told her stories about growing up in a small city on Earth. He told her about his family, his mother who made food that warmed the soul, his father who taught him to fight with honor. He told her about his sister, who died in the first year of the war. When he spoke about his sister, his voice changed. It became quiet, heavy. Yuna saw the pain in his eyes. She did not ask more questions about it. She understood that some wounds never healed. In return, Yuna told him about her life. She told him about growing up in the palace, surrounded by beauty, but also by loneliness. She told him about her sickness, how it made her different from everyone else. She told him about her mother, who loved her, but also expected so much from her. She wants me to be strong, Yuna said one afternoon. They were sitting in her garden, as they did every day now. But how can I be strong when I cannot even walk without getting tired? Strength is not just in the body, Taiho said. It is also in the mind, in the heart. Yuna looked at him. Do you think I am strong? Taiho thought carefully before answering. I think you are trying to be. That is what matters. Yuna smiled. She did that more often now. Her smiles were small, shy, like flowers that were just beginning to open. But they were real. The palace was quiet that night. The moon was full, and its light fell through the windows like silver water. Yuna was in her room, reading a book about ancient Valari history. Taiho was outside her door, standing in the shadows as always. Something felt wrong. Taiho could not explain it. It was a feeling in his stomach, a tightness in his chest. He had felt this before, many times during the war. It was the feeling that came before danger. He stepped away from the door and walked slowly down the hall. His eyes moved over everything. The walls, the ceiling, the floor. He looked for anything strange. There, at the end of the hall, one of the lights was off. It should have been on. The palace lights never turned off by themselves. Taiho moved toward the dark area. His footsteps made no sound. He had learned to walk silently, like a ghost. That was why they called him the Ghost. He reached the dark corner and looked around it. The hall beyond was empty, but on the floor, there was something wet. He touched it with his finger and looked at it. Blood. His heart beat faster. He looked up and saw a shape on the ceiling. A Valari guard, dead, hung from the pipes with a wire around his neck. His throat had been cut. This was not a single killer like before. This was a team. Professionals. Taiho turned and ran back toward Yuna's room. He moved fast, faster than he had ever moved. The air rushed past his face. His heart pounded in his chest. He reached her door and threw it open. Yuna looked up from her book, surprised. Taiho, what is wrong? Get behind me, he said. Now, Yuna saw his face. She saw the cold fire in his eyes. She did not ask questions. She got out of her bed and moved behind him. And then the window exploded. Glass flew everywhere. 3 figures came through the broken window, landing on the floor like shadows. They wore black clothes that covered everything except their eyes. In their hands, they held curved blades that glowed with blue light. Assassins. Taiho pushed Yuna further back. Stay against the wall, he said. Do not move. One of the assassins laughed. A human? This is what protects the princess now. He spoke to the others in a language Taiho did not understand. They all laughed. Taiho did not wait for them to stop laughing. He attacked. He grabbed the closest assassin by the arm and twisted. The bone broke with a sharp sound. The assassin screamed. Taiho took his blade and used it to cut across his throat. The assassin fell. The other 2 were surprised. They had not expected a human to move so fast. They had not expected a human to kill so easily. But they recovered quickly. They were professionals too. They attacked together, one from each side. Their blades moved in perfect patterns, cutting through the air toward Taiho. He ducked under the first strike and blocked the second with the blade he had taken. Metal crashed against metal. Sparks flew. Taiho felt the power behind their attacks. Valari were stronger than humans, faster than humans. 1 against 2, he should not be able to win. But Taiho was not a normal human. He had been trained since he was a child. He had fought in battles that should have killed him. He had survived when others died. His body was covered with scars because he never gave up. He never stopped fighting. And now, fighting for Yuna, he would not stop either. He moved like water, flowing around their attacks. He moved like fire, striking when they did not expect it. He cut one assassin across the chest, then kicked the other in the knee. The knee bent the wrong way. The assassin fell. The one with the chest wound kept fighting. He was angry now. He attacked with wild swings, trying to cut Taiho apart. But wild was not good enough. Taiho waited for an opening, then struck. His blade went through the assassin's heart. 2 down. 1 left. The last assassin was on the floor, holding his broken knee. He looked up at Taiho with fear in his eyes. "What are you?" he asked. "What kind of monster are you?" Taiho stood over him. His face was calm, but his eyes were cold. "I am a human," he said, "and you made a mistake coming here." He hit the assassin on the head, knocking him unconscious. He would not kill this one. This one would answer questions. Taiho turned to look at Yuna. She was pressed against the wall, her eyes wide, her body shaking. She had never seen violence like this. She had never seen death so close. "Are you hurt?" Taiho asked. Yuna shook her head. She could not speak. Her voice was stuck in her throat. Taiho walked to her slowly. He put his blade down and held out his empty hands. "It is over," he said. His voice was soft now, gentle. "You are safe." Yuna stared at him. Her eyes moved over his body. There was blood on his clothes. Some of it was from the assassins. Some of it was his own. He had cuts on his arms, his chest, his face. He was bleeding, but he acted like it was nothing. You killed them," she whispered. "Yes," Taiho said. "I had to. They were so fast. So strong. How did you?" Taiho did not answer. How could he explain? How could he tell her about the thousands of hours of training? The hundreds of fights? The friends who died so he could learn from their mistakes? There were no words for what he was. He was a weapon made of flesh and blood. He was a survivor. Guards came running into the room. Captain Harren was with them. He saw the dead bodies on the floor. He saw the blood everywhere. He saw Taiho standing in front of the princess, still ready to fight. What happened here? Harren asked. 3 assassins, Taiho said. Professional. They killed at least one of your guards in the East Hall. They came through the window. 2 are dead. 1 is alive for questioning. Harren looked at the bodies. He looked at the unconscious assassin. He looked at Taiho. You did this alone? Yes. Harren was quiet for a long moment. Then he did something he had never done before. He bowed to Taiho. It was a small bow, just a tilt of the head. But from a proud Valari captain, it meant everything. Thank you, Harren said, for protecting the princess. Taiho nodded. He did not care about thanks. He only cared that Yuna was safe. The rest of the night was chaos. More guards came. Doctors came to treat Taiho's wounds. Officials came to investigate the attack. The unconscious assassin was taken away for questioning. The dead bodies were removed. The broken window was covered with thick cloth dug through all of this. Yuna sat on her bed and watched. She watched Taiho get his wounds treated. She watched him answer questions from the officials. She watched him refuse to rest, insisting on staying by her side even when the doctors told him to lie down. When the officials finally left, it was almost morning. The sky outside was starting to turn purple. Yuna and Taiho were alone again. "You should sleep," Taiho said. He was sitting in a chair by the door now. His wounds were bandaged, but he still looked tired. "I cannot sleep," Yuna said. "Every time I close my eyes, I see them. The assassins. The blood." Taiho was quiet. He understood. He had seen those things too, the first time he killed. It never really goes away. You just learn to live with it. "Why do they want me dead?" Yuna asked. Her voice was small, like a child's. "I have never hurt anyone. I have never done anything wrong. Why do they hate me so much?" "They do not hate you," Taiho said. "They fear you. Or rather, they fear what you will become." "What will I become?" "Your mother's daughter. A great empress. Someone who can change things. People who have power do not want things to change. They are afraid of you because you might take their power away." Yuna thought about this. That seems so stupid. Killing someone because you are afraid of what they might do. "People do stupid things when they are afraid," Taiho said. "That is why fear is dangerous. It makes people blind." Yuna looked at him. "Are you ever afraid?" Taiho thought for a moment. "Yes," he said. "Tonight I was afraid. You did not look afraid. I was afraid I would not be fast enough. I was afraid you would get hurt. Fear does not mean you cannot act. It means you have something to lose." Yuna's. 2 months had passed since the night of the assassins. The palace was different now. More guards walked the halls. New security systems protected every entrance. Lady Subin had made sure that nothing like that night would ever happen again. But the biggest change was not in the palace. It was in the princess. Yuna was no longer the cold, proud girl who hated humans. She was no longer the scared child who could not sleep. Something had awakened inside her. Something strong. It started with a simple request. "Teach me," she said to Taiho one morning. They were in her garden, sitting on their usual bench. The flowers were blooming all around them, filling the air with sweet smells. Taiho looked at her. "Teach you what?" "How to defend myself. How to fight. Like you do." Taiho was quiet for a moment. He looked at her thin arms, her weak legs, her body that got tired from just walking across a room. "You want to learn to fight?" "I know what you are thinking," Yuna said. Her golden eyes were serious. "You are thinking that I am too weak, that my body cannot handle it. But I am tired of being helpless. I am tired of watching other people protect me while I can do nothing. I want to be strong, even if just a little." Taiho thought about this. In all his years of fighting, he had learned one important thing. The will to fight was more important than the ability to fight. Yuna had that will now. He could see it burning in her eyes. "Very well," he said. "But we start slow, and you do not push yourself too hard." Yuna smiled. It was a bright smile, full of life. Taiho felt something warm in his chest when he saw it. They started that same day. Taiho taught her the basics first. How to stand properly. How to breathe. How to move without wasting energy. These were simple things, but they were the foundation of everything else. A building without a good foundation would fall. A fighter without good basics would die. Why Yuna learned slowly. Her body was weak, and she got tired quickly. Sometimes she could only practice for 10 minutes before she had to sit down. But she never gave up. Every day, she pushed herself a little more. Every day, she got a little better. "You are improving," Taiho said after a week. They were in a small training room that he had set up in an empty part of the palace. Yuna was holding a practice stick, trying to copy the movements he had shown her. "I do not feel like I am improving," Yuna said. She was breathing hard, and her face was red. "I still cannot do any of the moves properly." "Fighting is not about doing moves properly," Taiho said. "It is about never giving up. You have done the same exercise 50 times today. You failed 50 times, but you are still trying. That is what matters." Yuna lowered her stick. She looked at him with curious eyes. "You always say things like that. About never giving up. About trying even when you fail. Is that what humans believe?" Taiho nodded. "Humans are not strong like Valari. We are not fast. We do not live long. But we have one thing that other species do not understand. We are stubborn. We refuse to accept that we cannot win. Even when everything is against us, we keep fighting. That is why we are dangerous. That is why we survived." Yuna thought about this. "The Valari have a saying," she said. "The weak must know their place. They must accept what they cannot change. But your way is different." "Yes," Taiho said. "Our way is this. If you cannot change something, fight harder. Fight until the thing changes, or until you die trying. There is no other option." Yuna was quiet for a long moment. Then she lifted her stick again. "Show me the exercise one more time," she said. "I want to try again." They practiced every day after that. In the mornings, Yuna had her lessons with her teachers. In the afternoons, she trained with Taiho. Her body grew stronger, little by little. Her movements became smoother. She could practice for 30 minutes now without getting tired. But it was not just her body that was changing. It was her mind too. Taiho taught her more than fighting. He taught her how to think, how to look at a problem from different angles, how to stay calm when everything was falling apart. He taught her the lessons he had learned in the war, lessons that had kept him alive when others died. "Fear is not your enemy," he told her one day. "Fear is information. It tells you where the danger is. The trick is to listen to the fear without letting it control you." "Anger is the same," he said another day. "It can give you strength. But if you let it take over, it blinds you. Use it like fuel, but do not let it drive." "Every person has a weakness," he taught her. "Even the strongest enemy. Find the weakness, and you can win. Size and strength do not matter if you know where to strike." Yuna absorbed these lessons like a flower absorbing water. She began to think differently. When problems came, she did not panic. She thought. When her teachers pushed her too hard, she did not cry. She pushed back. Slowly, the scared princess was becoming something else. Something stronger. Lady Subin noticed the change in her daughter. One evening, she called Taiho to her private chamber. "You have done something I could not do," she said. She was sitting by a window, looking out at the city below. Her face was softer than usual. "You have given her hope. I only showed her what was already inside her," Taiho said. Lady Subin turned to look at him. Her ancient eyes studied his face. "You care about her." It was not a question. Taiho did not know how to answer. So he said nothing. "I gave you this job because I needed someone to protect her body," Lady Subin continued. "But you have done more than that. You have protected her spirit. You have made her believe in herself." She paused. "I am grateful." Taiho bowed his head. "I am only doing my duty." "No," Lady Subin said. "This is more than duty. I can see it in your eyes when you look at her. I can see it in the way you speak about her. You care about her like she is your own family, like she is someone precious to you." Taiho was quiet. He did not deny it. He could not. Somewhere along the way, Yuna had become more than a job to him. She had become someone he would die for. Not because of duty, because he wanted to. Be careful, Lady Subin said. Her voice was gentle but serious. There are rules in the Empire about relationships between royalty and others. If people see you getting too close to her, there will be trouble. I understand, Taiho said. I will keep my distance. Lady Subin smiled sadly. That is not what I meant. I am not warning you to stay away from her. I am warning you that others will try to separate you. There will be challenges. There will be enemies. People who do not want a human near the throne. They will come for you. Be ready. Taiho looked at her. I will be ready. Back in the palace, Yuna was waiting for him in their training room. When he walked in, she smiled at him. It was a warm smile, full of affection. You were gone a long time, she said. Is everything okay? Yes, Taiho said. I was speaking with your mother. Yuna's face changed. She looked worried. What did she say? She said you are improving. She is proud of you. Yuna blushed. Really? She said that? Taiho nodded. It was not exactly what Lady Subin had said, but it was true. He knew the Empress was proud of her daughter. He could see it in her eyes every time she looked at Yuna. Let us practice, Taiho said. You were working on the third form yesterday. They trained for an hour. Yuna was better than ever. Her movements were fluid, confident. She still got tired, but she did not stop. When the hour was over, she sat down on the floor, breathing hard but smiling. I did it, she said. I completed the whole form without making a mistake. Yes, Taiho said. He sat down next to her. You did well. Yuna looked at him. Her golden eyes were bright. Taiho, can I ask you something? Of course. Why do you stay here? You could leave. My mother would not stop you. You have done more than anyone expected. You could go back to Earth. You could find a normal life. Why do you stay? Taiho was quiet for a long moment. He thought about the question. He thought about all the reasons he could give. Duty, loyalty, honor. They were all true. But they were not the whole truth. I stay because of you, he said finally. Yuna's breath caught. Because of me? When I came here, I was empty, Taiho said. His voice was low, honest. The war had taken everything from me. My friends, my family, my reason to live. I was a weapon with nothing to fight for. I thought I would die here, protecting someone I did not know, and that would be the end. He looked at her, really looked at her. But then I met you, and something changed. You gave me a reason to live again, not just to fight, to live. When I see you smile, when I hear you laugh, when I watch you grow stronger every day, I feel like there is still good in the world. I feel like maybe I'm not just a weapon. Maybe I'm still a person. Yuna's eyes were wet with tears. She did not wipe them away this time. She let them fall. Taiho, she whispered. I know there are rules, Taiho said. I know I am just a human guard, and you are a princess. I know we come from different worlds. But if you ask me why I stay, that is the truth. I stay because you make me want to live. And I will keep staying as long as you want me here. Yuna moved closer to him. She took his hand in hers. Her skin was soft and cool. His was rough and warm. They were so different. But in that moment, the differences did not matter. I want you here, Yuna said. Always, no matter what anyone says. No matter what rules exist. You are my guardian. My teacher. My friend. She paused. Her voice became even softer. And maybe something more. Someday, if you want. Taiho felt his heart beating fast. He had not felt this way in years. Not since before the war. Not since he had closed his heart to everything except fighting and surviving. "I want that," he said. As 6 months had passed since Taiho first arrived at the palace, the empire was in chaos. News came every day about trouble in the outer regions. Noble families were fighting each other. Some were openly questioning Lady Sabin's right to rule. They said she was weak. They said she was hiding while her empire fell apart. They said her daughter was a broken thing that would never be a real empress. The whispers were becoming louder. Taiho watched everything carefully. He listened to the servants talk. He read the reports that came to the palace. He saw the patterns that others missed. Something big was coming. He could feel it in his bones, like the feeling before a storm. He told Lady Subin his concerns. She listened with her ancient eyes, not showing any emotion. "I know," she said quietly. "They are planning something. The nobles, the generals, even some of my own advisors. They think I do not see them, but I see everything." "Then why do you not stop them?" Taiho asked. "Because I cannot prove anything yet. And if I move against them without proof, I will look like a tyrant. More families will turn against me. The empire will fall apart even faster." She sighed heavily. "I am old, Taiho. I have ruled for 500 years. Maybe it is time for change. Maybe they are right." "They are not right," Taiho said firmly. "You are a good ruler, and Yuna will be even better. I have seen her grow. I have seen her strength. She is ready." Lady Subin looked at him with something like hope in her eyes. "You truly believe that?" "I do." The Empress was quiet for a long moment. Then she nodded slowly. "Then perhaps we should let them come. Let them show their true faces. And then we will see who is truly strong." The coup came 3 days later. It happened during a ceremony. All the noble families had gathered in the great hall to celebrate the anniversary of the empire's founding. Hundreds of people filled the room, dressed in beautiful clothes, wearing masks of smiles. Lady Subin sat on her throne, with Yuna beside her. Taiho stood in the shadows behind them, watching everything. The music was playing. People were dancing. Everything seemed normal. Then the doors burst open. Soldiers poured into the hall. Not palace guards. These were soldiers wearing the colors of General Minho, the highest military commander in the empire. They carried weapons that glowed with deadly light. They formed a wall between the doors and the throne. The music stopped. The dancing stopped. Everyone turned to look at the doors. General Minho walked in slowly. He was a tall Velari with cold gray eyes and a face like stone. Behind him came a group of nobles, the same ones who had been whispering against Lady Subin for months. Their masks were gone now. Their true faces were showing. "Lady Subin," General Minho said. His voice echoed through the silent hall. "Your time is over. The Noble Council has decided that you are no longer fit to rule. You will step down from the throne and surrender all power to us." The crowd gasped. Some nobles moved toward the walls, trying to get away from whatever was about to happen. Others stood frozen, too shocked to move. Lady Subin did not react. She sat on her throne like a statue, her face calm and cold. "And if I refuse? Then you will die," General Minho said, "along with your broken daughter. We have 2,000 soldiers surrounding this palace. Your guards have already surrendered. There is no escape." Yuna stood up beside her mother. Her hands were shaking slightly, but her face was determined. She had practiced for this. She had trained for this. She was ready. "You are making a mistake," Yuna said. Her voice was clear and strong. It surprised everyone in the hall, including the general. "The people will not accept you. They love my mother. They will fight against you." General Minho laughed. It was a cruel sound. "The people? The people are tired of your weak family. They want strong leaders. Leaders who can protect them, not a sick girl who can barely walk. Yuna felt the old pain at those words, but she did not let it show. Instead, she smiled. It was a cold smile, the kind she had learned from watching her mother. "We will see who is strong," she said. Taeho moved out of the shadows. He walked past Yuna and Lady Subin, down the steps of the throne, toward the line of soldiers. His footsteps were the only sound in the silent hall. General Minho watched him approach. "The human guard. I heard about you. The ghost. The one who killed the assassins." He smiled cruelly. "Do you think you can fight 2,000 soldiers by yourself?" Taeho stopped a few meters from the general. He looked at the soldiers behind him. He looked at the nobles standing nearby. He looked at all the frightened faces in the crowd. Then he looked back at General Minho. "No," Taeho said. "I do not think I can fight 2,000 soldiers." The general's smile grew wider. "Then you are wise. Step aside and we will let you live." Taeho shook his head slowly. "I said I cannot fight 2,000 soldiers. But I can fight you." Before anyone could react, Taeho moved. He was faster than anything they had seen. Faster than any human should be. He crossed the distance to General Minho in a heartbeat. His fist struck the general's throat before the man could even blink. Minho fell to his knees, choking, his eyes wide with shock. The soldiers raised their weapons, but they hesitated. Their leader was down. They did not know what to do. Taeho pulled a blade from the fallen general's belt. He held it against Minho's neck. "Order your soldiers to stand down," he said quietly, "or I will cut your head off." The general tried to speak. He could barely make sounds through his damaged throat, but his eyes said everything. He was afraid. He had not expected this. He had thought the human was just a guard, just a simple soldier. He had not believed the stories about the ghost. Now he believed. "I said stand down." Taeho's voice thundered through the hall. The soldiers flinched. They looked at each other, unsure. Then, slowly, they began to lower their weapons. But it was not over yet. One of the nobles behind the general moved suddenly. He pulled a hidden gun and aimed it at Yuna. "Kill the princess," he screamed. "Kill her now." Time seemed to slow down. Taeho saw the gun. He saw where it was pointing. He saw Yuna standing on the throne platform, too far for him to reach in time. He had failed. After everything, he had failed. Then Yuna moved. She dropped to the ground as the shot fired. The energy bolt passed over her head, missing her by inches. She rolled across the floor, just like Taeho had taught her. She grabbed a fallen guard's blade and came up on her feet. The noble fired again. Yuna deflected the shot with her blade. The energy bounced away and hit the ceiling. Everyone stared in shock. Yuna charged toward the noble. Her legs were weak, and she was slow compared to a Valari. But she had surprise on her side. She had training on her side. She had months of Taeho's lessons on her side. She struck the noble's arm. The gun fell. She struck his leg. He fell to his knees. She put her blade against his throat, just like she had seen Taeho do. "Stay down," she said. Her voice was cold as ice. The hall was completely silent. Everyone was staring at the princess. The weak princess. The broken princess. The one who could barely walk. She was standing over a noble with a blade at his throat, her chest heaving, her golden eyes burning with fire. She was magnificent. Lady Subin stood up from her throne. She walked down the steps slowly, her silver dress flowing behind her. She stopped in front of General Minho, who was still on his knees with Taeho's blade at his neck. "You said my daughter was broken," Lady Subin said quietly. "You said she could not rule. You said she was weak." She looked at Yuna, standing victorious over her fallen enemy. "Look at her now. Tell me what you see." The general said nothing. What could he say? He had been wrong about everything. I see my heir, Lady Subin continued. I see the future of this empire. She has something that you will never have, Minho. She has a heart that never gives up. She has a spirit that cannot be broken. She has the strength that comes from inside, not from soldiers and guns. She turned to the crowd. Her voice rose, echoing through the great hall. This is what humanity has taught us. Never surrender. Never accept defeat. Fight until the end, no matter what the odds. My daughter learned this from a human. She became stronger because of him. And now she will lead this empire with that same strength. She looked at Taiho. There were tears in her ancient eyes. Thank you, she whispered. For everything. Taiho bowed his head. He had no words. His heart was too full. The palace guards arrived soon after. They had not surrendered as the general had claimed. They had been fighting his soldiers all along, buying time. Now they swept through the hall, arresting the traitors, securing the nobles who had supported the coup. General Minho and the other conspirators were taken away in chains. The celebration was over, but no one cared about that anymore. They had witnessed something far more important. They had witnessed the birth of a new era. Later that night, Yuna stood on a balcony overlooking the city. The lights below sparkled like stars on the ground. The air was cool and fresh. She was tired, more tired than she had ever been. But she was also happy. Tay stood beside her. He had bandages on his hands from the fighting. But he was smiling, just a little. You saved my life, Yuna said. Again, no, Taiho said. You saved yourself. I just created an opportunity. You were the one who moved. You were the one who fought. Yuna shook her head. I could not have done it, W.